Okay, so get this. Imagine a magazine straight from the 1970s.
Wow.
Not just surviving, but actually thriving in today's world.
Really?
Yeah, Living Together. That's the magazine. It was so ahead of its time, celebrating all these different cultures and promoting global unity back when it was a pretty radical idea.
Yeah, it really was groundbreaking for its time.
Totally.
I mean, in the 70s, Living Together was the only national publication in America
Wow.
with an actual multi-ethnic perspective. Think about it.
Yeah.
This was a time when, openly celebrating your heritage wasn't as common as it is today.
Right.
Their motto, Together Living,
Yeah.
it really captured the essence of what they stood for.
Yeah, I love that. And get this, Living Together is back.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not just some depthy reprint or anything.
Okay.
They've actually evolved into this really vibrant platform with a podcast and 2 new magazine spin-offs.
Wow.
All tailored for a modern audience.
That's so cool. This revival is fascinating because it taps into something much deeper
Yeah.
than just nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think there's a real hunger for connection and understanding,
Totally.
especially in our increasingly globalized world.
Right.
And Living Together seems to be providing that space for exploration and celebration.
For sure. Let's start with the podcast. So they're promising these real stories from diverse communities, stories about resilience and navigating identity and preserving heritage in a world that's constantly changing.
That's really cool. What's exciting is that this podcast format
Yeah.
allows for a level of intimacy and depth that a print magazine might not be able to achieve.
Right.
They can delve into personal experiences,
Yeah.
letting individuals share their unique perspectives on living in a multicultural world.
Exactly. They've hinted at stories about how people are searching for authentic cultural experiences.
Oh, cool.
Both at home and abroad. And they'll be exploring the fascinating connection between lifestyle choices, food and fashion and how those connect to cultural values.
It's going to be interesting to see how they navigate the whole concept of cultural authenticity
Yeah.
in a world where cultures are constantly influencing and blending with each other.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then there are the magazine spin-offs.
Oh,
Living Together Asia, focusing on the Philippines, Japan, China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan.
wow.
Talk about a dynamic mix.
It's a smart choice
Yeah.
because these countries are all experiencing rapid social and economic change,
Yeah,
which directly impacts how people connect with their cultural heritage.
for sure.
It'll be really interesting to see how the magazine explores those modern experiences.
Totally. And then there's Living Together West Africa with a primary focus on Nigeria.
Oh, cool.
I mean, Nigeria's cultural influence is undeniable.
Yeah.
From music and art to fashion and food, it's making waves globally.
Absolutely.
The magazine seems to be focused on connecting that vibrant heritage to the diaspora and introducing it to a wider audience.
That's awesome.
Both the podcast and the magazine seem to be hitting on this desire to learn and connect across cultures. It's like they're creating a space for us to embrace our own identities while also exploring and appreciating the diversity of others.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it feels like they're really building a bridge between these cultures.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that they're using all these different mediums, like the podcast with the personal stories
Yeah.
and the magazines with the more in-depth explorations to kind of create this multifaceted experience.
It's a really clever approach when you think about it.
Totally.
Because they're catering to different learning styles and preferences.
Right.
You can really dive deep with the personal narratives on the podcast.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of explore these specific regions and themes through the magazines.
For sure. And speaking of adventures, they've dropped some hints about what we can expect from the podcast.
Oh, cool.
One episode that caught my eye
Okay.
features a contemporary Nigerian artist who incorporates traditional Yoruba art symbols into his work.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's like a powerful way to bridge the gap between the past and the present,
Right.
using those ancient traditions to create something new and relevant for today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the magazine's overarching theme
Yeah,
of cultural continuity and evolution.
for sure. They've also teased an episode about a Filipino-Japanese fusion chef.
Oh, wow.
Now that's got my attention.
Yeah.
Food is such a universal language,
Totally.
and fusion cuisine always pushes boundaries and sparks creativity. What kind of dishes does she create?
Well, they didn't reveal all of her secrets,
Okay.
but they did mention that she blends traditional Filipino adobo with Japanese umami flavors.
Oh, wow.
It sounds like this delicious culinary conversation between two cultures.
More than just the food, though.
Yeah.
I bet her personal story is fascinating.
I'm sure it is.
Like navigating two cultural identities.
Right.
And expressing them through her culinary creations.
This goes beyond just like presenting facts about different cultures.
Yeah.
They're highlighting individual experiences.
Right.
And showcasing the richness and diversity of human expression.
It's like they're reminding us that even though we may come from different backgrounds, we're all connected in some way.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful message, especially in today's world.
It really makes you think. A magazine from the 1970s,
I know.
finding new life in the 21st century.
Right.
Because its core values,
Yeah.
celebrating diversity, promoting understanding, fostering connection, are more relevant than ever.
You know, it makes me wonder why now?
Yeah.
What is it about this particular moment in time
Right.
that makes a platform like Living Together resonate so strongly?
Well, we live in a hyper-connected world,
Totally.
but that doesn't always translate to genuine understanding.
Right.
I think there's this growing awareness
Mm.
of the importance of intercultural communication,
Yeah.
breaking down those barriers and building bridges.
And maybe there's an element of like seeking solace in a world that often feels chaotic and divided. You know, Living Together kind of offers a space for positivity,
Right.
like a celebration of our shared humanity.
That's a great point. They're not shying away from these complex issues,
Right.
but they are approaching them with a sense of hope and optimism.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, the world is a pretty amazing place.
Yeah.
With all its different cultures and perspectives. Let's explore it together.
And that sense of exploration is key. It's not just presenting information.
Yeah.
They want you to like ask questions, challenge your own assumptions, and like come to your own conclusions.
It's like they're handing us a map and saying,
Yeah.
go out and discover the world and yourself in the process.
And who knows what you might find along the way.
Totally.
Maybe a new passion,
Right.
a hidden talent,
Yeah.
or even like a deeper connection to your own heritage.
Now, you, the listener, might be thinking, why should I care about this 1970s magazine?
Right.
What does this all have to do with me?
Well, I think Living Together is a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play in creating a more inclusive and understanding world.
Yeah.
It starts with curiosity,
Right.
a willingness to step outside our comfort zones
Totally.
and engage with different cultures.
Yeah, and it's about recognizing that our differences are actually what make the world so vibrant
Right.
and fascinating.
Totally.
And Living Together is like this guidebook almost, helping us navigate those differences, but like with sensitivity and respect.
Yeah, they're not just telling us to tolerate other cultures.
Right.
They're really like encouraging us to embrace them, learn from them, and celebrate them.
Yeah.
It's a much more proactive and engaging approach.
And you know what's really inspiring
Yeah.
is that Living Together isn't just talking the talk, they're actually walking the walk.
Oh, yeah.
They've actually built this truly diverse team
Okay.
of writers, editors, podcast hosts,
Wow.
all bringing their own unique perspectives and experiences to the table.
That's so cool.
And that authenticity like shines through in their work.
I bet.
You can tell that they're really passionate about sharing these stories and connecting with their audience on a personal level. It's not about preaching or lecturing.
Right.
It's about fostering genuine dialogue and understanding,
Absolutely. And that's something we could all benefit from these days.
especially in today's world.
Yeah. We live in a time where it's so easy to feel isolated and disconnected.
Absolutely.
Even with all the technology we have,
Right.
Living Together kind of reminds us that there's this whole world out there waiting to be explored,
Yeah.
and that we're all part of this larger human story.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Why should you care about this revival of this 1970s magazine?
It's a reminder that the human desire for connection and belonging transcends time and place.
Yeah.
Living Together is proof that even in our fast-paced digital world,
Right?
there's still a hunger for authentic stories, meaningful interactions,
Totally.
and that sense of shared humanity.
It's like a call to action almost, like an invitation to step outside our comfort zones. Embrace that curiosity
Right.
and engage with the world in a more meaningful way.
If a magazine from the 1970s can find new life and be relevant in today's world,
I know, it's amazing.
what does that tell us about the enduring power of cultural exchange and this human need for connection?
It tells me that there's hope.
Yeah.
It tells me that despite our differences, we still crave that understanding and belonging.
Absolutely.
And it tells me that we all have a role to play in building those bridges and creating a more inclusive world.
And living together is showing us how to do just that.
So if you're looking for a way to expand your horizons, learn something new, connect with different cultures,
Yeah.
maybe even discover something about yourself in the process,
Right.
check out Living Together.
Yeah, explore their website, dive
Yeah.
into their podcast, and see what resonates with you.
You might just be surprised by what you find.
Who knows? You might just discover that together living is what it's all about.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for listening.